Good morning. We're going live. We're live. And I say good morning. How are you doing? It was interesting. YouTube has this red line that has adjusted itself on the screen. I don't know what it does. YouTube has moved things around and got some new colors. Still haven't figured out what all those little lines do over there. But hey, good morning. This is the 5am Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach, and I hope you are doing well today. It is Wednesday, halfway through the week. Still got way too much stuff to do. Getting earlier and earlier, as you can see. It's not quite 7 o'clock. It's 6:59. Getting there back into the 5 o'clock hour. Last week with all the stuff just threw me off. Anyway, let's talk business here. So we're here to talk about Agile and Scrum, and I'm Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach, and this is the 5am Mester Scrum Show. And we're going to talk about it in a practical and tactical way so you get more value to your customer and get out of your caves. Some people are going home to work now, so we're in a little quasi room zone, but really to work more efficiently so that you can progress and maybe in this episode, maybe talk about how learning and tasks like that. So 2 things I want to talk about today. One, I want to talk about certs. Because everybody asked me, oh, Greg, you got lots of certs. They go on my LinkedIn. I put all my little certs up on that thing. This is to kind of show ones I've done. And it's a pathway, and I want to kind of walk through that pathway, how I got them all. There is method to the madness. I don't know what the madness and I don't know what the method is, but it kind of seems to work. And then I want to talk about product owner honesty. The other day we talked about courage and honesty. So there's a little honesty, courage. I commented on a blog post in LinkedIn yesterday, and the thing that popped up me was honesty from product owners, and I'll tell you why in a second. So certs I got them all written down because I got to go through them all. My certification talks to my journey as an Agile coach, and it's kind of I do and I don't apply this when I interview people. Because when I look at their journey, how they have progressed over time. To be an Agile world, a Scrum Master, and Agile coach, you have to be a learning individual. It just is. Some people think I don't need to do it. I know it. Yeah, but you always learn something new, a new craft, a new tool, because you're asking everybody else to be a learning person too. So it's like a double thing. So plus with all these PDUs, SDUs. PDU, blah, blah, EU, something. I always try to take classes that help me out with all my different organizations that I'm certified with. So how did I start out? Long time ago, there was a class called Scrum Study. It was an inexpensive class. It wasn't $1,000. When I started this, it was like $1,200, $1,500 to take the Scrum class. And I wasn't sure whether or not Scrum was the thing I wanted to do. I wanted to learn a little bit. So I took this inexpensive class. It was a whole week's worth of class. Paid for myself. Wasn't paid for by the company because I was kind of looking at a transition out of where I was working. So there they had Scrum and some kind of Agile expert certification. But then as I did that and I'm working in the field and applying the Scrum techniques that I learned there to what my teams were doing and how I knew over the years, one of the things I first took, I didn't take the CSM class. I didn't take the Scrum class. I actually took the CSPO class. Why? Because I knew where the requirements are coming from. I knew where the business was. And I wanted to know how to coach them because it's still one of my biggest problems is the CSPO or the product owner. How do I get them to help understand their job and get the information to the teams? So that was key. And then I went and got my CSM. So I got my CSPO first because I already had like some Scrum Master training. Theoretically, I was a Scrum Master in that one group, and then went into my CSM. And all the while I was doing this, I was attending local Agile Philadelphia type meetings and Agile groups. There was only one at the time. There wasn't a lot. There's just one, maybe two, but mostly one. And went to their monthly meetings and met some Agile people, asked lots of questions. If anything, you get to know me, I ask lots of questions when I go to these meetings. I'm probably one of those assholes that actually do all that asking questions. Then I shortly got my PMI ACP. Why did I get the ACP? Because I already had a PMP. And all my stuff from my ACP applied to my PMP. So every time I took an Agile class that helped my ACP, that also helped my PMP. So for me, it gave me a little credibility on, and it was a really good class. Actually, I went and took it and read up on it. It showed me all these different things of Agile besides just Scrum and Kanban. So while I was prepping for the ACP, I had to learn all these other different types of Agile types. So that was a real value. I think I took a class. So every one of these things, I actually took a class. So every year I'm taking a class. So every year, pretty much you can count every year. Sometimes I had two, depending on what was going on. But you can see every year on my resume, boom, 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 boom. So I had the ACP. So I had all that. Then I was working at Comcast for a while, and it was a dirty word. You couldn't say the word safe. Apparently, they were so turned off by safe at Comcast that if you said it, you were going to get fired. So they wouldn't say it. Though the guy that was there, he was creating safe. He just didn't call it safe because he would get fired. So I said, well, if we're all talking safe here in this company, what it is, I should get my SA or some kind of safe certification. I don't. Back then, they didn't have all this Scrum Master stuff and Product Owner. None of all that existed. They had the SA and they had it and the code. It's just the one I gotta get. The other one, but anyway, the consulting one. I didn't want to pay $850 because I wasn't getting paid to be in safe, but I wanted to understand safe, what it did, how it worked, where it was, because I basically ended up doing 2 or 3 PI ceremonies at basic equivalent PI ceremonies or planning events at Comcast. So it came in handy because I understood it, what they were trying to do, and I understood the background. So when they were trying to do it, I'm like, but you're not really doing what they said, but I got them, helped them get to where they needed to be, which was very handy. Then after that, I started working for another company, and I was a Scrum Master for a team for like a year, getting on a year, not quite a year, but a year, probably about 6, 8 months. There was nothing really to teach them other than new teams, and this is when I started coaching because I got more teams. Because what happened was the other managers saw how effective we were managing teams, and they kept going, I am getting swamped, Greg. I need you to help me understand how Agile and Scrum work so I can organize my backlogs because I can't keep up with it. So it started growing. But my one team was very successful. I didn't have to teach them anything. If I said the word definition of done, I think this one guy was going to kill me if I kept saying definition of done. But sometimes he needed it. I agree, it was like overkill. For him, it was. So I started going into the coaching side of things, where I was coaching individuals how to be higher level performance. So I took the IC Agile stuff, the ACC and the ATF. So I kind of took them together because I wanted to know the full gamut of coaching. The ATF, the facilitated activities, I've been doing that since I was a trained facilitator back in the 90s. So 20 years of doing that. I understand a lot of it, how to do it, and different things. So I always applied that. So that wasn't too bad. But I took the coaching part and then put that back. And that's where I wrote my coaching agreement. Came out of that. It was a brain thought as we did the coaching exercise. I go, I need to do this with my team. And little Corona is on. Good morning. And so that's what I did there. So what else I got here? All right. So now while I was in that group teaching them all this, my CEO or CIO, I should say, was asking, they needed help too because they needed to understand. Because I got all this training and talked about getting a CSM for people that were there and a CSD, which is a certified Scrum developer. I sat on all the classes. I just didn't take the cert because at the time I didn't really feel like rushing to learn Java. But I took the Cal course because my boss was asking me, what can we as managers take that would be beneficial? So a friend of mine was offered a Cal course, got a deal, went and took the Cal course, suggested to my CIO. He took it, and then he wanted me to take it again with the manager. So I ended up taking, I don't know if I took it twice or whatever. But anyway, I suggested that to them. He wanted me to take it along with his other mid-level managers so that we were all on the same page. So I took the Cal course for them. So that was like, so I had multiple managers learning Agile and Scrum. They wanted to get to the next level. I took them to the Cal course because they didn't need to be Scrum Masters, right? They kind of should have been CSPOs, but they didn't need to be Scrum Masters. So they took the Cal course. The CIO took the Cal course, so I took it. That's where I got that cert, right? Then when I was trying to figure out the next company I was working with, how do I scale Scrum between multiple teams? And that's why I took the Scrum at Scale, which is an awesome course. I love Scrum at Scale, and the reason why I say I love Scrum at Scale, sorry to say people, is that's how I always taught how to scale Scrum. And I was so excited. I was laughing the whole entire time, smiling, giggling, the whole time I was taking the class. Why? Because someone wrote down what I was actually saying. It wasn't me. So now I can take the Scrum and Scale course and go, bam, on the manager's desk. Do this. I've been telling you to do this for years. Here it is, and it's a group, and it's an organization. It's got backing behind it and everything like that. So that's where the Scrum and Scale course came. And then where I am today, just taking some business agility courses because business needs to get more agile, right? They need to understand that to be competitive. So my latest ones I've been taking were a lot of business agility course, and I also might take the SPC course for SAFE soon. So that's on my radar. And the other thing that's on my radar right now, I am taking a 6-month cohort, which is now like 8-9 months because of the COVID thing, for getting my IC Agile expert certification and coaching. So that's all the certs, kind of where they came and why during my career and where it came from. More power to those who want to take them all at once. Me, I like to take a cert, learn some things, apply for a while, figure out where I need to be next. What worked on that, because you can't do all this stuff at the same time. Maybe you can. Maybe you're super people. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is, but not me. I am not a super guy. But I also like learning and understanding it and getting the fundamentals and getting real down and dirty with the processes, because then I remember them forever and I get experience with it, and I can take that experience and build on it. As you can see, my certs have been building on building on top of each other, and growing that experience and growth. Now, I will say that we did an article, and I got 15 minutes, and I got one last thing I want to talk about. One time, a long time ago, we talked about this, where I had a guy who got a cert, like on a website. Fine, you get a cert, $50. I'm a Scrum Master. Awesome. Okay, you've been doing this for 7 years. I expect within those 7 years, you got another cert from a more established house of an Agile practice. To go 7 years means when you're not a learning person, because it's so easy. Every one of those certs was a CEU, SEU, PDU, whatever, for all my stuff. So I had to take it anyhow. So for someone not to take it, I go, what are you thinking? You're not thinking, right? And you want to be an Agile coach? Huh? No, it ain't going to happen. Not under my watch. No. Anyway, okay. So that's the certs. Talked way too much on certs, but that's the search story. And it'll continue, by the way. I just don't, I collect them, but over time, what my customer needs. Okay, product owner honesty. Oh, and it kind of relates to the courage thing. And it was a question number 5, and this is one thing I see. You can do all this stuff at the back, but part of the honesty of the product owner, and not every product owner really truly owns the product. There may be some changes, some feedback coming in. The product owner needs to let the team and be honest, to be upfront, and this is why they need to be close to the team, on how mature the requirements and stories are. Is there a focus group going on right now that could change the requirements? Let the team know. You have to be honest with the team, because what's not more frustrating, and it's an honesty thing, where you start working, you define a story or a feature for a sprint, and then the product owner comes in mid-sprint and says, well, I got to change the requirements. What do you mean I got to change the requirements? Well, I just got feedback and we got to change the requirements. You didn't tell us that. So record in your system those things. And we're at the 15-minute mark, so I got to cut it. So that's the honesty. Be honest with your team. And it takes courage to admit you don't know stuff. So that's the courage part. And then, you know what? Let's say you do have to change, because the real essence, and we're going to go a little bit over, is what's valuable to the customer. If the customer says it needs to be done, then it needs to be done. But you as a product owner have to have the courage to say, you know what? I effed up. My fault. I did it. That's the bravery of being an owner. You own it. You own your decisions. But you have to work with the team now. So you know what? I own it. I'm going to reestablish the backlog, the priority, and I'm going to take a couple things I'm going to see that are at the back of the backlog and move them off to the next sprint. It's my fault. I did it. If we get it done early and we fix it and it doesn't hurt, maybe we can negotiate about bringing something back in the sprint. But when you do that, you have to acknowledge the fact that you're going to, and you get so many more points with the team. If you go, hey, I got to change this. You know what? Because I got to change this, I want to take this story off the backlog, if that's okay with the team. Right there, you'll develop so much trust and honesty on that one little statement, and it didn't hurt you one little bit, that you'll never get anywhere else. So with that, I got to leave you. Ending the show. Ring the little bell if you like what we're talking about, and have a good day. It's Wednesday. I am going to try to get the interview out today. I don't know. I got a lot of stuff to do. I got to actually do a couple coaching sessions today, and there's a meeting over in York, not York, Pennsylvania, but York, England, and I want to go sit on that during lunchtime. So it's a busy day. So with that, say take care, goodbye, have a great day, and happy scrumming. See ya.